Welcome to the series Introduction in R. In this series I will teach you how to program in R and use it for statistical purposes. So in this first video I will show you the installation and the first steps in R. So like and subscribe, and hopefully you will be an R professional. So first of all, what is R? R is a programming language for statistical purposes, and RStudio is the interpreter of this particular software. First we go deeper into how to install R and RStudio, so then we go into how we use it and how is the surface of RStudio. At first we go to this website, which is also linked in the description, and on that we download and install R, and we click on it. Then we click there, then install R for the first time, then download R for Windows. So, perfect. Then we also download RStudio, which takes a little bit longer. So then we open R. And then we install it, and we use the default. Yes, so we cancel it, or I cancel it because I already have it. You can download it and install it. Then we also do the same for RStudio. So then we open it, and we have to make sure that RStudio isn't running. Then we open it, then yes, then next, okay. And then we install RStudio. After a few seconds or 1 minute it should be installed. It depends on your PC. So perfect. RStudio is now installed. Then we open it. And we make a little introduction into what we see here. First we go to the buttons. So over here we have the files, the view and the tools, which you most commonly use. And so under the file button we have new file, we can open a file, open a project, save the file, rename it, and so on. So this is like common, like in every program you have a similar file button. So under view we can like adjust like the surface, we can adjust the panels. So for example, if we want to switch environment and console, we can go on panes, then we can switch the console to the left, which I don't like, so I put it back to the right. So this is my commonly used like surface I like the most. So if you don't like it, you can switch it around as you want. Then with tools we can adjust under global options how we want to see the appearance of our RStudio. So I like this appearance, like Cobalt, but you can also use Dracula or some other stuff which is also written here. Then we have this button here, which is making a new R script. If we click here, we can make a new R script which has no name, and then we can write something in it. But we don't need it, so we delete it. But you can also make R Markdown, C++ files, Python scripts, and so on. But for this particular lessons we only use R script. Then on this side we have the project button. Here this project is called Einführung in R, which translates like introduction in R. And here we can make a new project, open projects in a new session. Here you see some project I already did. And if you want to make a new project, we click up here. Then we go to new directory, new project, and then we can write in a new name, like introducing R. And then we can click here, open in a new session, so our previously used project doesn't get closed. Then we can open it, just to show how it looks like. So what is the useful thing about project? You can link your data perfectly to your scripts. So you can put it all into this path here, and then you don't have to adjust the path to get to your data or to your scripts, because sometimes your script lies in a different path than it used to be. And with the project you can like make sure that it always lays in your project, and this certain path is like constant. This is the nice thing about projects. So we close it, and then we go into describing what we see in those panes, in those panels. So here on the right side and on the upper part, we see like the console, the terminal, and the background jobs. The console is used for like commands we only use once and don't want to write it down, so we don't can like write a few commands in there and then use it, which is the case for like scripts. So in commands we do perhaps write something like this, and then we compute it. But if you want to make sure that the commands stays, then we want to write it in a script. So we have like, if you may want to open it in the future sometimes, then we can like run all these commands and then we have it. If you only write it in the console, it's more difficult to get to those commands. And if you make a computation in your script, it will be also shown in your console. Down here you see the files, the plots, packages, help, viewer, and presentation. So we mostly use files, plots, packages, and help. So in files you can see all the files you have in your project. In plots you can see the plots you're making in your script or in your console. In packages you can see all the packages you have installed. And under help you can see if you want to get to know some command a little bit better. So if you want to know what is a command about, you can see it down here. So viewer and presentation is not commonly used, at least not in this lessons I will teach you. So we can figure that out later, or you'll figure it out later. So on the left side we can see the environment down here, the history and the connections and the tutorials. I never used the tutorials, but perhaps you can try it out if you want to. We mostly focus on environment and history. History shows all the commands you did, and environment is like the place where you look at when you want to know what objects did you generate, or you want to see if you have some functions you put in those programs. So this is the place where you look at, and then you can have a view on those objects or functions. And here in the upper part we see the scripts. And in the scripts you have like you should have a nice flow, so a script should be running through. It shouldn't stop at one point. So you have to make sure that there is no error inside. R will also tell you when there is an error. First of all, we get used to some commands which are pretty handy. With remove list is equal to ls, you can remove all stuff which is in the environment. So perhaps if I just make an object like A, then you can remove it with rm. So this command is useful for that. But you also can look at the memory limit. Then you can also, if you want to know which R version do you have, then you can click. Then you can run R version. And for the running of those commands, we use Control Enter. So this is like the short key for running those commands in R and RStudio. So, and this command down here is called install packages. Install packages makes sure that you get a new package. It's like buying a book. And this book you put in your shelf. And then you have it in your library, in your shelf. This is the command down here. So you can't use install R when you installed it, because it's just in your shelf. So you have to put it out of your shelf to use your package. So that is why we use library. Library is like the command to put the book out of the shelf, and then you can read it. So we put the book out of the shelf, and then we can use the command update R, which I won't do because it's sometimes a little bit of a nasty process. But it's sometimes nice to have this command if you want to update R, because you have some problems with some packages, because some packages want to have a newer version of R, some packages want to have an older version of R. So sometimes this is a problem, but it's not that common, that is. So most of the packages are up to date. That's for today's lesson. And if you wanna get to know deeper into R and RStudio, please subscribe and look at the new videos. Watch them. They will coming up soon, and have a nice day and see you soon.